Hello friends, Alessandra here. We are going to do our 2-week check-in from the last check-in we did of our worms. Uh-oh, that's not good. Did you guys see that? We had a few flies come out. Yep, it was 2 weeks ago that we checked on the worms last to see how they were doing with their first feeding. A little concerned that we're getting flies coming out of it. I haven't done anything except for come in and add this in, and that was probably about a week and a half ago. It was right after we did the last worm check-in. Mostly because I want to keep track of the temperatures while they're in the garage. So it says that it's just under 70 degrees in the heart of the bin, so I think that's pretty reasonable. And for those of you who missed it, we had previously wrapped up some food scraps here, and oh boy, oh boy, oh my, oh boy, oopsie doopsie, for our first feeding for our worms, to see how, you know, they would do feeding a small container for some food. Interesting. Looks like the food is pretty much still here. I mean, it's definitely gone down, but I think this is because it's been shrinking down. But I don't see any worms in here. I see a lot of flies. I see a lot of flies. We got our little soft scooper here. Okay, I see a worm or two. Okay, I see a few worms in here. Let me bring you guys in so you can see too. Okay. So we can see that there are a few worms kind of in the surface area here, but it definitely feels very dry to me. There's not a ton of worms in here. Certainly not at the top right now. They're here, there's just not a lot of them. And while I have you guys close, here's what's left of the food. I'm assuming it's the bugs eating it or just decomposing because there's not really worms in here. Not off to a good start. No, not off to a bad start either, just not off to a great start. Given how full this is with paper and bedding and coconut coir and I know it's extra full, but what I want to do is, like, this is a ton of packing paper, just nothing special, just plain newsprint type stuff. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to kind of layer this up on top because that'll hopefully contain the flies that are in there so they die out, and or prevent more from coming in, because God only knows how they got in there. I mean, they're talented, but it's also hopefully going to work as a water diffuser. Let me show you. Okay, so this is just a mushroom plastic piece from the grocery store. I'm gonna stick this underneath the outside of the urban worm bag, so if it, so if it drips at all, we'll know. But here's how I think we're gonna add some water. I wanted to smush it down without you guys having to listen to all the crunching, because I'm thinking you're probably not gonna like that. So this is just some tap water, let's say like filled up to here, and I'm gonna pour it over the top, because what I'm hoping is, one, there's not really a ton of water in here, but I'm hoping that once it gets through all of these layers and it slowly drips down, it'll disperse throughout the bin, because I think given the size of the bin and the amount of water that we would have to add, sitting here with a spray bottle would take forever. And I don't feel comfortable adding more food right now. I'm just gonna let this water fill in, and like I said, I have a little drip catch at the bottom. Hopefully you catch it, but I'm hoping this will slowly get absorbed through all of the layers of paper. And that way it's not drowning any one area, or at least that's what I hope. In the meantime, seriously considering ordering more worms, because if it's taking them this long to to get up to this and get acclimated. You know, we only have a few months before it really starts getting cold here, I think. You know, it's August, so we're thinking first frost in October out here in Colorado. They are in the garage. We will make sure they stay warm, of course, but I want them to get, like, you know, some decent momentum and have a semi-regular schedule before we get into the cold season. So we can see that the water is pooled in some areas, which is good, which means it's gonna hopefully slowly diffuse down. I'm just gonna cover this back up here. Oy, okay. And I guess now we wait and hope. I know I need to put some eggshells in and some cornmeal. We've done that in the past, working at cornmeal so they can get some grit in their food. But I'm gonna wait to do that in case we have a more critical situation here. I don't wanna, I mean, it's probably not a big deal. We could add it at this point. I just, meh. So, yeah, not the 2-week update I think any of us were hoping for, but it is what it is. And that's kind of the thing when you're starting with worms. I've obviously had plenty of worms in the past, but you know, sometimes getting started takes a little while to get that momentum. So we just gotta be waiting and patient, and I'm gonna try really hard not to check on them and fuss with them. I've been kind of out of sight, out of mind with this bin, which I think is good for everybody. Then we don't worry about it as much. So we'll check in about a week or two and see how it's going. And I'm gonna go stalk some worm websites and see if anybody's having a sale. Okay, friends, thanks for hanging out with us today as we check in on our new urban worm bag. As always, I'm Alessandra. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Bye.